Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here to present the paper, a certification-based modeling approach of medical cyber-physical systems in an insulin infusion top case study. My name is Lenardo, and I am a professor at Federal Hero University of Semierde, Paus Ferreira City, Brazil. At the beginning of this presentation, I'm going to contextualize the main concepts related to this work, focusing on the problem statement, followed by the main contributions of this work, the modeling approach of MCPS proposed, the case study used to evaluate the approach, and the conclusions of this work. Well, I'm going to contextualize the work speak about MCPS and MDD. So, medical cyber-physical systems, MCPS, are safety-critical systems composed of hardware and software components that interact one with the other and with the environment. The problem is that the interactions of system and environment generate emergent properties that manufacturers should analyze to avoid hazard situations. Regulatory government agencies such as the FDA verify if a specific system is safe and effective before market and keep track of it by means of POCs. Production analysis. This model-driven development, MDD, is an approach that may enable manufacturers to create safer and more effective systems using industry standards. Models are used to reason about the problem domain and design a potential solution through abstraction. Assurance cases are artifacts to demonstrate that a MCPS is according to government legislation and required system quality standards. The assurance case generates evidence by means of goal-oriented requirement engineering (GOR). GOR uses a modular goal structuring notation (GSM) and a set of formal modeling tools, for example, the Ptolemy tool framework and Simulink Design Verify (SLDV). Therefore, our contribution was to develop a certification-based modeling approach of MCPS described by means of an initially limited pump case study. This work is a research advanced from Silva et al. 2050 and Sobrino et al. 2070, with the integration of complementary concepts and artifacts to support the early validation of this system. The first block of the block diagram, we use the concepts of the GOR approach to analyze existing documentation that include product-specific characteristics and prescriptive standard requirements. Note that the execution process of the proposed approach starts with the definition of a set of goals derived from different documents associated with the product under specification. For example, the total amount of insulin in the cartridge should be enough to apply the total amount of insulin required for the patient. And prescriptive standard, for example, ISO 14971. All the risks should be identified during the usage of the product. We use assurance case in modular GSM to represent and structure safe and effectiveness arguments and evidence. Afterward, we derive goals considering product-specific requirements, and prescriptive standard requirements. The goals are also used to specify formal models that represent the requirements for both process and product of the MCPS. Therefore, manufacturers may link models themselves and model verification and validation results to evidence stated during the assurance case definition. To enable manufacturers to easily define and extend the assurance case in GSM with regulatory agencies, the approach is composed of a standard based on XML, named of Assurance Case Extend Standard, ACES. It maps GSM graphical elements such as goals, solutions, and strategies to XML elements. Additionally, concepts of requirements traceability are taken into account. In this approach, requirements are considered as goals that manufacturers should achieve to ensure that a MCPS provides clinically relevant features in a way that it does not put patients and system operators in injury risk situations. An assurance case is represented by an oriented graph T equals V and A, where V is a set of nodes related to goals and solutions, and A is a set of edges that connect nodes. Well-known algorithms for graph may be used to enable it. The Insulin Infusion pub case study is used as a use scenario to apply it and introduce further details. This is the GSM model of the Insulin Infusion pub based on the proposed approach. This contains all goals, context, strategies, and evidence associated to the case study. In this figure, we represent the requirements of the insulin pump model, where the heptagoals are the goals previously specified, and circles are the evidence that support the goals. For example, the safety requirement 2 is that if cartridge level is lower than the administered insulin dosage, then the pump starts shall be stopped. Well, this is as we maps requirements of the system to form purpose that must be held for the different clinical scenarios. Not that it is possible to document the goals using informal and formal description. Additionally, there is a relationship that connects the requirements in the work product used to represent or test it. It is also possible to define an evidence as a work product of the system, as well as to define the physical location to access it. As mentioned early, the chosen clinical scenario is about the treatment of diabetic patient by insulin therapy using an infusion pump device. This figure presents the clinical scenario modeled in Ptolemy 2. To execute the insulin pump model identified by the number 3, it is necessary to input data such as configuration parameters identified by the number 1. We obtain these parameters from the patient model. We model a function components identified by the number 2 that automatically calculates daily insulin dose according to the patient's current health condition. The equations used to calculate such insulin dose are available in the clinical guidelines of the Brazilian Society of Diabetes. This model was run in two ways. Firstly, the basal administrator profile was configured for the standard mode with fixed doses. Afterward, the customized mode was selected with flexible doses for both executions. Failures were not found during the operation of the insulin pump. This is considered as an evidence and incorporated in the assurance case. Given that the Ptolemy 2 framework does not support formal verification of safety properties, we are modeling the clinical scenario under analysis using the Simulink. After the execution of this model using SLDV, the model achieved 92% coverage. This type of evidence must also be incorporated into the assurance case defined using ACE standards. A prototype was designed to present a validation scenario for modeling approach. A set of screen human-machine interface model was developed from a listed requirements to enable users to handle the system. This model receives and sends data to Arduino for processing. The prototype has initial settings, requirements for control, and protection of the insulin pump user. As mentioned previously, the infusion pump has two operation modes. That's the standard and customized mode. Furthermore, the HMI module informs to the user about the state of the pump, the cartridge's capacity, and the pump start, for example, stopping. Another option is to reset the settings of the infusion pump. They use components to create the prototype insulin pump where a 3 ml syringe, the mechanical part to move the syringe from 3D model, a step model, an Arduino Mega 2560 integrated to display. Also, we build a mechanism that actuates the plugger of a syringe to ensure that the exact amount of insulin is injected into the patient. This figure 7 shows the final structure of the prototype. We used a step-by-step model simulation to evaluate the correct functioning of the insulin infusion feature of the prototype. We compared the model simulation results and prototype results. We verified that the prototype was according to the desired insulin administration rates according to the prototype settings. And this type of evaluation can be documented by assurance cases used to improve the confidence in the correct function of MCPS. Our conclusions are that the goal approach assists in the requirement solicitation and analysis process of MCPS. The concepts of assurance case, actors, and goal fit properly during the development process of the systems. Manufacturers could use a assurance case from the initial phase of the development process. Work product, for example, formal model and assurance case can be used as evidence during the certification process. The pub's prototype illustrate how manufacturers can use the formal model to design final products, decreasing costs and time for developing and certifying. As future work, we are designing a mechanism to convert the Ptolemy 2 models for other model environments such as CPN2s. These are the references used in this presentation. If you have any question, send mail to Lenardo at UFERSA.edu.br. Thank you very much.